I get some money. Every day we blowing gas. Every day we in the mall. Every day we blowing cash. I do this every day. Every day I do this shit. It's just an ordinary day. Every day I get some money. Every day we blowing gas. Every day we in the mall. Every day we blowing cash. I do this every day. Every day I do this shit. It's just an ordinary day.
Alright, yo, what up? It's Flight School TV. We in Calumet City at River Oaks Mall, and we at one of the OG stores. And I say that in the truest fashion. I say that and I mean that. This is one of Chicago's original fashion designers that really set the standard for the scene. He might not get the credit, but that's what I'm here for. Facing Flight School TV. Thanks for having me here in your store.
Thanks for having me, my brother. I super
it.
appreciate you, my brother.
So, like, I wanna start the interview with, how did you start with art?
Okay, I started, me and my wife, I'm originally from the Calumet building, 62nd and Calumet, in the heart of the ghetto.
Yeah, I'm gonna get to that.
And me and my wife, we went to actually Staples, and I was looking for a way to actually get out of the area and do something other than what I was doing, which was selling drugs and etc.
Right.
So we got some heat press. We heat pressed 2 T-shirts, and I sold them. I waited to sell them at night because I know that's the time that everybody be drunk.
Yeah.
And they talking stuff, shooting dice and all that. So I sold them that night, and everybody felt it. So the next morning, everybody else was like, man, why you didn't give me no shirt? Why you didn't give me no shirt? I was like, man. So we went to Staples and we hit up some more, and we started selling them from there. And ever since then, I was looking for a way out of what I was already doing.
Right.
And I found a passion of it, and that passion came to be actually the vision of
so
where I'm at.
When you was thinking of ways to get out of your situation and basically avoid the 2 things that come with that.
Yes.
You know, it's either death or jail,
jail.
When they come to that street life. Ain't no way around that.
There's no way out.
So when you was looking for your way out of that situation, what made you go like, you know what, this T-shirt thing might be my lane? What sparked that flame, that idea?
Right then and there, that was the time when Sean John was coming out. Sean John was in the store on 95th and Western. There's a store on 95th and Western, and they carried Sean John. Other than that, a couple other stores carried it, but they didn't have it displayed like they did in one on 95th. And it was inspiring to see that he hit so many angles. And then one of the biggest angles that he hit was actually in the fashion industry, which really caught my attention. Upon me doing that, I ran into J Boogie. And J Boogie said that he was soon to be merging with somebody else doing something else. That's when he was on 79th and Western.
And who is J Boogie?
J Boogie is one of the originators of actually putting a lot of people on in the fashion industry, putting them up under him and actually putting them to the forefront the way he had. Because you know he has a lot of connections with the music industry and etc.
Oh, okay.
So him and Anthony Mason merged. But before that, I was with J Boogie in 96, 98, when he had the store on, 12th or 14th Street, and he was doing the towel coats.
Oh yeah,
with all the characters on them.
Yeah, the Minnie Mouse and Mickey Mouse.
He was making leather jackets.
It was hot.
Yeah, he was making leather jackets. So I got a couple of leather jackets made by him by then. And I run into Kanye West down there. I run into John Monopoly because he had a studio in there.
Yeah.
And then they was the Boot Bag Boys. I used to go down there sometimes, just play the millipede. But just to see his whole family down there back in the 90s and doing that. But I was running to J Boogie way before the 96. I run into him, and then 91 down in Jewtown. So the history of me and him in this fashion industry, wow, I think goes beyond that.
Yes, cause like I tell people, like I remember you. It's 2018 right now. I can't even put a date on it, but it had to be around like 06. '07, I think it's around that time when I first bought my first pair of Edward Art jeans.
Exactly.
And it had the skull on it with the bones coming out.
The killer part, I did them jeans because
and that's when you was at Swap Around.
I was at the flea market. I couldn't sell them.
Yeah.
I ordered some jeans. I ordered, what do I order? 4,000 pair?
Wow.
My first was 4,000 pair. They came in 5 or 6 pallets. And we couldn't sell them. And somebody said, why don't you just put a print on them to match the shoes? It's like, damn, put a print on. Man, we slapped anything on them. I mean, we didn't even think about it. We slapped them on them. And me being in the flea market for like the first day, I probably made like 3,500 just selling them for, because I had like, I wanted to get rid of them so bad, I had like $50 sets.
All right, so let's backtrack a little bit. Okay, so you went from, you'll catch the guys in your neighborhood late at night when they was all drinking.
Shooting dice,
gambling, just normal neighborhood things. And you'll catch them at that moment selling t-shirts. At what point in time did you realize, like, man, this might be something for me? Like, it's gaining momentum.
It looked like it wasn't really gonna be anything. It was just like it was just gonna be a Passover until I had the chenille patches on the sweaters. And then when I had the chenille, wasn't nobody doing it.
Yeah.
And then I had access to everything. We had access to the embroidery machine. We had access to the chenille patches. We had access to everything. And my first like 15 sweaters I did, I put them in one of my cousin's cars, which is the Bentley Twin.
Yeah.
And they took the feds took all their cars.
Damn.
Man, I was fucking mad. So after that, I was like, man, I really wanted to go there and say, man, look, I don't know what's they got going on. Can I get my sweaters? No damn well that ain't gonna be possible.
Right. They confiscating everything.
But that actually gave me a vision of that actually where it's going, because the sweaters I had are probably like 24 of them, and they sold the first night.
Right.
On the first cool night of a summer night.
And to put it in time perspective, what year was that? Like around what year? Because I know you've been in the game so long.
I can't recall the years, but it was a little bit of time before I got the jeans, because that's when I actually did the internship for actually J Boogie. I did a 3-month internship, whereby,
what did you learn from that internship? Because a lot of people, a lot of shorties coming out right now, they feel like, man, I ain't working for free. I ain't doing no internship.
He didn't pay me shit.
That's what I'm saying.
He didn't pay shit.
That's what I'm saying. So, some words of wisdom and just to the youth about sometimes opportunity is not attached to a paycheck.
I learned, I'm gonna tell you this, and big up to J Boogie. I learned a real lot by just being quiet and watching.
Yeah.
Because I was in charge of the 4-head embroidery machine, whereby I did industrial embroidery for them.
Right.
And I watched Dante, Fashion Geek, Dave Jeff, some of the greatest artists. I mean, that was some of the greatest times ever to actually see them work. I watched Dante listen to reggae and sew up a whole jacket in a matter of an hour. Gee,
Damn.
It was disgustingly amazing.
Damn. Okay, so you started gaining momentum when you started doing the Chanel patches, but then you had that minor setback.
Yeah.
Now moving forward, you start interning for J Boogie.
Yeah.
At what point in time did you end up in the Swaparama? That's when I met you, and this was, you could say, I met you like about 12 years ago. I want to say, maybe longer than that, but I met you about over 10 years ago. I'll just say over 10 years ago, and you was in a Swaparama, and now you in the mall with 2 stores.
Okay.
So we gotta break down this whole situation, because people don't understand the grind that it took. But I actually witnessed it firsthand, because I was one of the customers that was shopping with you in the swap.
Okay. I'm gonna give you a small summary of actually where the graduation stages came to. Okay, I went from selling it, putting a table out on 63rd and King Drive, in between Calumet and King Drive, right there, right next to where they got Save-A-Lot right now. And I put a table out there, and I put a tent out there, and I sold shirts right there. That's one. I graduated from there, and then I went to the flea markets. And I was in the flea markets for like 12, 13 years. From the flea market, I went in between that time, in between me doing J Boogie, because I didn't print up t-shirts till after a year of me being around them. Because I didn't feel like I had enough knowledge to actually, I wanted to learn their trial. I was soaking up their game and learning their trials and errors. Every time they complain, I listened.
Right.
Because their complaint was very valuable to me not making the same mistake.
Right.
So every mistake they made, I would listen and I would write it down. Like, damn, he said do it.
Right.
So once I seen all the mistakes they made, then a year later, when everybody's like finna go their own way, that's when I started printing up my stuff. So I really didn't get their advice of what I was doing until later, but the person that actually showed me how to use the Adobe Illustrator, the Photoshop, the Corel was Dante.
Dante, elaborate on
Dante
who
is the owner
is.
of a fashion firm. He's one of the greatest designers in Chicago.
Yep, I just reached out to him.
He's one of the greatest
Shout out
designers
to Fashion Firm, man.
Shout out to Fashion Firm.
They designs is so creative.
It's no shitting on nothing. He is amazing.
Okay, so you went from the
Shout out
swap.
to Barber Beige too.
You went from so you was at the swap for how long?
I did 13 years in the flea markets.
13 years in the flea market, and how do you feel like that benefited your name and your brand?
To other people, it actually didn't. It actually, what they said, underrated my brand. When they don't know about the underrating and upper rating of the brand is that even though they had stores and they had these and they had that, even though I was in the flea market, I was still selling my clothes to collections.
But they see
boutiques.
you at a flea market and assume that your shit is less.
Right. But before that, I was doing the Midwest street scene trade shows.
Right.
Whereby my brand was being distributed to 365 stores. So what you see in the flea market is I was doing way more during the week by shipping to the stores.
Okay.
So I was shipping to 385 stores.
So 12 to 13 years spent in the flea market, the Swaparama as we call it in Chicago.
Yes.
And transitioning to getting into Revolts and getting into a mall.
Okay.
How was that transition?
I want to take a step back because before I got to the mall, I was on 119th and Western, and a cell phone place where they did cell phones here and they did. I had my end over here where I sold my clothes. Well, people don't know that sometimes you're not ready for what you think you actually see.
Right.
So you have to build up what you see here. You're not ready for it back then. So I built up everything there. But before I got to the mall, I had a kiosk. So from the kiosk, I did that for 2 years. And in between that year, I said, no, this is too small. I got another store around the corner over there by the food court. Once I feel like within 6 months, I said, this is too small. So once Aeropostale left in November, on the 31st, they didn't even wait to December. They just broke out. I looked at the place and I said, this is the right spot. I looked at this spot and we did floor plans on it. And this is when we open up whereby we can do more creativities, we can help more brands. Right now, this helps more brands than ever.
Right. I mean, it's a beautiful store. When you walk in here, the layout, everything clean, everything organized, and you wouldn't believe like the fact that you a street dude. Don't ever get that part misconfused. You know what I'm saying? Like you a real street dude that just emerged from your circumstances, and you went from the streets, Swaparama, a kiosk in a mall, a smaller store, to a bigger store in the mall. Okay. And this is where we at right now.
This is where we at right now.
And that's amazing to see.
That's amazing to see when you get it with little or no help.
Right.
The help is actually come from the customers, not from the actual level of classes where we at far as the fashion industry in Chicago.
Right. So let's speak on that a little bit. How do you feel like the scene of Chicago? Chicago has always been a city. The people from Chicago like call it the city of hate, where like everybody hate on each other. It's like a lot of people got that crabs in the barrel mentality where, no, right when you think you're trying to make it out, no, wait, no, I'm trying to make it out, and we pulling each other down instead of pushing each other up.
Facts.
So, like, how do you feel about that part of Chicago? Like, not getting the assistance that you probably needed that would have helped your growth a lot faster.
You know what? Me coming from the street life, and a lot of people that actually the brands that's out, it's not really from the street life. Like I'm from the project. I stayed in the Calumet building in apartment 1206, right there by the incinerator, where you had to put the wood right there so the rats wouldn't run into your door. Rats or mice wouldn't run into your door. We had to put the chalk around the things to try to keep the roaches out. So that's where I'm from, and it's no, you know what I'm saying, fabricated story whereby I'm not from there.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm born and raised there.
They're merchant.
But some people don't feel certain people like if they're not cut from the cloth. I'm not the cloth of other brands, and they're not the cloth of me. Other brands that's from the cloth of me feel me.
Right, so you feel like maybe you being from where you from might, and just your overall presence and how you carry yourself, you think that might intimidate people?
It may intimidate them because a lot of people feel like
bit?
that if they can't control you, then they really don't even want to fuck with you.
All right. And
I can't be controlled like that.
And that's wild, man. That's crazy to hear. So, I mean, so when you was coming up, who was some of the brands that was like, okay, like I consider you an OG because I know you've been doing this since I can remember. You know what I'm saying? Like I can't remember nobody else doing it as long as you besides maybe Corey. Corey at Leaders. Shout out to Corey at Leaders.
Before I was doing it, Fashion Geek was in it. Dave Jeff was in it.
Fashion Geeks and
Dave Jeff was in it. Corey was in it. Jay was in it. Barbara Bass most definitely was in it. Sir and Madam, she was working for Dave Jeff when Dave Jeff opened up a store in Hyde Park.
Yeah.
So it was a couple of people in it before me, but I just wanted to learn as much as I could from them guys.
Right.
But sometimes when who you are, like I am, I'm cut from the cloth. Sometimes you get a stiff arm.
Yeah.
Not unless you call them, and then they may give you that information. But other than that,
yeah.
because you may not be cut from their cloth.
Right. So, like, as far as the overall scene in Chicago, how do you feel like the fashion scene is right now?
I think we might got one of the biggest watch cities when it comes to music, sports, but our fashion industry, if we put ourselves together as far as the manufacturing part, we'll get more recognition because right now you got the LAs, the manufactured in LA hashtag going on. We need a manufactured in Chicago hashtag going on.
Definitely.
Just imagine if we was to start our own shoe company. Oh, okay, let me ask you a question. Who do you consider to be the hottest brand in Chicago? Doesn't bother me. I'm not sensitive.
My opinion is biased a little bit, but I consider the hottest brand in Chicago to be Leaders.
Okay. I'll take that. Even if you say a Fashion Geek, I'll take that too. I'm not sensitive.
I mean, Fashion Geek is becoming one of the hottest brands, but I think Leaders right now is the hottest brand in Chicago.
I understand that, but
they just did a deal with Blackhawks.
Okay, I understand that. But as far as the base of the youth, would you give it to? Who would you give it to?
As far as the youth, I still would probably say Leaders, but Fashion Geeks is like right there. Like Fashion Geeks, I think Fashion Geeks got the kids right now.
Okay, there we go. Okay, now let's move to the next subject. The kids actually buying more of what? The shoes. They buy a shoe a week.
Yeah, they definitely into the shoes. The shoe thing is crazy right now.
What if we became the Reebok of today and be the Nike of tomorrow? And we've all pushed that one brand.
Right.
All of it. How many stores have you interviewed?
At this point, I think I got about 15, 20 interviews under my belt.
Great. How many black African American shoe manufacturers do you have in them stores? Hashtag disgusting.
Yeah.
Hashtag disgusting, ain't it?
Yeah.
Now, what if we push that one shoe that we feel like that Chicago gonna move and listening
Well,
to?
actually, Zoe and Now from Fashion Geeks, they got a Puma drop in 2018. Be on the lookout for that.
Super lookout for that.
And let's make sure that when that shoe come out, we all support it.
But is it a collab or is it a self-made?
I believe it's a collab, and you know
We should be self-made.
You know what? The only interview that I've done for Flight School TV, where a black man has owned his own shoe, created his own shoe, was an interview I did in Oakland.
Okay.
Shout out to FBCC. If you get the time to look up his page,
I'm gonna look him up.
FBCC.
See, that's what these interviews is for.
He from Oakland.
That's what these interviews is for.
And the surprising thing is his story is crazy because he was in the military, his daughter passed, and when his daughter passed, he made a promise to her he was gonna pursue his dreams,
Okay.
and which was fashion. And when Kanye got the Nike deal, then he did the Louis Vuitton shoe.
Okay.
That inspired him
Okay.
to create his own shoe.
Okay.
Cause Kanye let him know that it was possible.
Okay.
And so he took that inspiration and applied it to his life, as this interview is gonna do for a lot of other people that's watching, because you are living inspiration for people that want to make it to the next level and think they gotta stand on the block for 6-8 hours, know what I'm saying, and pump they pack. You know what I'm saying? When there's so many other ways,
Yeah, we
so
have
many
options.
other outlets.
We have a lot of options.
In 2018.
And we're not using them. The reason I mentioned up the shoe thing, is that I just think that we as fashion connoisseurs should actually come some way together and start pushing manufacturing of more products, whether it's t-shirts, pants, whatever. I don't care what it is. But at the end of the day, we meet at the round table and see where we at and how we can be better.
But how do you think realistically that can never happen?
Yes, it can. It can.
What do you think
can.
it'll take?
It'll take people to actually drop their pride and actually come sit to the table.
It's a
and
matter
take
of
10%
pride.
of something versus 100% of nothing.
It's a matter of pride.
How do you lose when you're not even doing it? How many people doing it? Nobody. So what do we lose? Nothing.
Right. So as far as like the scene in Chicago, do you feel like Chicago get the respect it deserves?
Not
overall?
for fashion. Not for fashion.
You don't think we get it?
No, not yet.
Because I mean, you look at the scene.
As an individuals, certain individuals get it, but not as a whole. We don't.
Right. Because you look at the scene, you hear all these rappers saying gang gang, dot. You know what I'm saying? Like, these are Chicago words. These are Chicago slang. You see them, you see Virgil, you see Don C, you see Kanye,
Amazing.
you see Edward Art, you see Zoe, Al, you see
Amazing.
Corey, you see Diego.
Shout
you
out to Al too.
You see VDOT, you see St. Alfred, you see RSVP, you see all these companies doing their thing, but when it comes to exclusive drops, those exclusive drops is still in New York. They still in Paris.
Exactly.
That's why I always ask that question. Do you feel like Chicago get the respect it deserves?
No.
And
Because
that's
everybody is so, you have a circle in Chicago that deals with that circle. And you have a people that's outside looking into the circle that probably can value the circle. You know what I'm saying? But that person's not called up on that circle because they feel like he's not cut from that cloth.
right. So you feel like, in your opinion, we need to expand that circle.
We have
and
to.
include more instead of trying to do things in small cliques. We need to unite as one and make a big impact.
Not on all things, but on something that you're really not even focusing on. Somebody manufacturing shirts, pants, or whatever, and I got a store, and look, I got space for that shit. And they got space in their stores. Why not push each other's one brand whereby we all are collabed in and invested in, and nobody knows it? And why the fuck do they keep pushing these jeans? Why the fuck they keep pushing that shirt? Why the fuck they keep doing this? Because we all make money off of it, and we don't have to really push focus on it. But if it don't sell, then we just come to the round table and figure out how to make it better. Or why it's not selling in your individual store. Not dropping the price because it don't sell, then move it to another store.
And on that note, let's take a break. And I want to get into some more personal questions, but let's check out the back of the store and see how that's looking back there.
No, we're gonna go to the customs department.
Okay.
Then we're gonna go.
Yeah, let's go to the custom. We're gonna go to the customer department. We're gonna check out that, see how that scene is, and we're gonna get more in depth with who Edward Ark is as a man. Back, man.
We're back.
We still with the OG Edward Ark. Edward Ark Tees located in Calumet City and River Oaks Mall. Make sure y'all get up here if y'all haven't already. You're snoozing. But right now, I wanted to take a little turn as far as the interview go, and I want to talk about like the beginnings of Edward.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I want to talk about the beginnings of your beginnings. Like, where you was born and raised in Chicago?
Born and raised in Chicago. I'm actually from 51st and State. I don't actually recall which building, but that's where I'm actually born and raised.
Okay.
In the projects over there.
And how was your childhood? How would you?
Man, rough as fuck.
It was
rough as fuck.
Yeah, because you grew up in that era at the height
I grew up in that area of the
gang banging and all that.
And everybody's trying to be the Nino Brown. It's actually 5 of us, and all 5 of us. What happened is my mother passed at an early age of 7 years old, and then at the passing of 7 years old, I had no father, and my grandmother adopted all 5 of us, and then we stayed up on 58 in Prairie in the back of an alley. In like a 1-bedroom hut where we listened to all the L's go bys, everything. We never even stayed on the block. We never stayed on Prairie. We never stayed on Calumet. We stayed in the back of an alley in a house, it was like an
almost like a garage type.
No,
thing?
it wasn't a garage. It was like a house for a second house for a house.
Right.
So you know how they build these houses, and that's like a guest house.
Yeah, like
we stayed in like a guest
house.
house, but it was nowhere near our guest house. But it was like a studio.
Right.
And she adopted us from us not going from to the adoption agencies.
Right.
So she took upon us, and then from there we moved from 61st and Calumet. From 61st and Calumet, we moved to 63rd and Stewart. From 63rd and Stewart, we moved to the Calumet building.
So it basically sounds like you bounce hood to hood.
Right. It's rough. I have no other options but to be successful right now.
And the reason that I wanted to address like where you from and things like that is because it's somebody that's viewing this video right now that might be living in those same areas that you just named.
Yeah.
And the only thing that the youth get to see is athletes, rappers, you know what I'm saying, and or drug dealers.
Right now they're only seeing the after success.
That's what I'm saying.
They're not seeing the rough part before
Right.
I got successful, what happened and
Right.
what I had to do to get here.
You emerge from your circumstances to create yourself.
Yeah.
And that alone deserves to be celebrated.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So how many brothers and sisters did you have?
I got 3 brothers and 1 sister. And me and my sister had the same mother, and I lost 2 of my brothers to the streets.
Yeah, I lost my brother to the streets too.
Yeah,
so we definitely can relate on that. But it's just amazing to hear your story and hear how you emerge from those situations and that type of atmosphere to make it to where you are, and you still going.
Yeah.
This is not. I'm not talking to somebody who's about to shut down and retire. I'm talking to somebody entering phase 2. You know what I'm saying? That second gear, where you really take off.
This is going to be one of the biggest and greatest accomplishments of our career right now. This is going to be the biggest year that we're going to actually do some really, really, really big things right now. Right now, I say right now we're, and this would be beating myself up a little bit, is that we're doing, this is like phase 1.
Yeah.
And we've been through so many phases with this brand and elevating the brand, putting the teams together, to everybody that actually not looking at the money part and looking at the actual enjoyment of it, of this is what they want to do. It's hard to find somebody to say, this is what I want to do, and not looking at the money part, but looking at that this is what I want to do, and the money's going to come if we keep staying together.
Right. If you work hard and you do what you love, eventually money gonna find its way to you.
It's gonna find itself. Right now, with everybody I deal with has a passion of what we do, and they not love it. They really in love with it. They come early, they leave late, and that's where we're building at right now. But there's a lot of stages going on that in the development right now. I'm really shocked Chicago.
So, like one thing. The reason I brought up like how you like where you grew up at in your childhood was because a lot of people don't understand like how somebody can have so much ambition or somebody can have that much drive, but it be circumstances like what you dealt with, what you grew up in, that made you look at that situation like, look, I need to get out of here.
Yeah.
Like, I am not trying to be here for the rest of my life. I need to figure out something.
But you know what I want to say?
Something was your clothing line.
Yeah, but you know what I want to say? I want to say that one thing that a lot of people don't realize about me is I gamble. And whether I lose or not, I still have options. Whether I have to go back to the hood and start back over, I'm good in the hood.
Right.
And that we were a generation right now, we were born with nothing.
How can you lose?
You had a man that died with over 50-something billion dollars. How much money did he take with him? You're gonna die with nothing. So why not risk it all?
Right.
So when no risk comes with no reward, I risk everything. From me manufacturing the shoes, the shirts, the underwear, the men's underwear, the women's underwear that we manufacture. I mean, I have a lot that's going on right now.
So growing up, who did you look to? I know you mentioned J Boogie, but was there other people that you looked to like, man, they doing their thing for Chicago?
Musically, yeah. Fashionally, no.
Yeah.
No, it was just a circle that I was around, and I was like a sponge. You know what I'm saying? I try to suck up everything that they was doing wrong.
Right.
And I try to go areas where I know they didn't want to go. So everything I did, so like the flea market, nobody was at the flea markets but me.
Right.
It was somebody that did pants before me, that was Dave Jeff. But I took his prototype of pattern of pants and then made me a pattern of pants and made them a little bit slimmer. Because back then they was into the baggy shit.
Right. Right.
So there was a lot of people that was doing a lot of things, and I was just trying to suck up on everything that they weren't doing, or everything they didn't want to do, and everything they complained about. I tried to listen to what they complained about and make my circle better.
How do you feel about the support of? We're not gonna get into, because I know you not just. You're a Chicago brand, but you not just Chicago. You bigger than that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But how do you feel about the support from the city? Do you feel like everybody embrace you,
It's disgusting.
or do you feel like they just chase trends right now?
It's disgusting, man. It's really disgusting on everybody how we as Chicagoans support Chicagoans. If you see right now, 14 years ago when Fashion Geek was doing Fashion Geek, and Fashion Geek came with the multiple colors. Gee, when he brought that shit in that fucking store, and on 18th Street, every motherfucking body in there laughed. They thought that was a fucking
the duck.
Everybody thought that was the dumbest shit ever.
He said he actually said they laughed.
And I laughed with them.
When I interviewed Zoe, he said in the interview, he was like, man, everybody laughed at me. And my response was like, man, it's crazy that when you think about it now,
Flat brought him in.
he was kind of ahead of his time because he was thinking about geeks back then, but
way ahead of
now
time, bro.
geeks kind of like rule the world.
But I'm gonna tell you one thing. The reason I mention that is because when 2 months down the line, I'll say 1 month down the line, laughter stopped. Everybody was bringing in blanks to throw in his runs to actually make sure that they get one of them shirts, including my goddamn self.
So he turned something.
He turned everything out to right now, and then to lead to that,
taking
super
serious.
serious. He woke a lot of people up,
And he's still
and not only he's still doing. But the reason I'm finna say that is because right now, if you look at Chicago right now, everybody has how many colors in their designs?
I wouldn't be able to answer that question.
I mean, they got the multicolors like Zoe, right?
Right.
Where did you think it come from?
So,
Zoe.
Shout out to
Come on,
Zoe.
man, stop playing, man.
Shout out to Zoe.
Let's keep it
man.
100. Give him his fucking credit.
Yeah,
He did it. Ain't no hiding shit.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Ain't no hiding that shit.
That's a
He did
fact.
that shit. Now he's tracing. How many colors do you see of mine in multicolors? None.
Yeah, you still
That's
keep
his
it on
lane.
G.
So why would I fuck with his lane?
Right,
A lot
yeah.
of people was bandwagon jumping the lane that even though he may if it's $45 or $50 for a t-shirt, he can get away with that shit.
Right,
I don't want a $40, $50 t-shirt.
right.
That's not my lane.
But that might have something to do with where you came from.
Exactly.
Because you know these people can't afford this price point.
Or they can, or either I'm just trying to sell more. Because for a $40, $50 t-shirt, you'll buy 2 of mine versus 1 of his.
Right.
So I'm thinking on a
Production.
on the production side, since I manufacture shirts.
Right.
I don't have time to be holding
You
shirts.
trying to get these out.
I'm trying to get them out.
Yeah, let's get them out. Let's get them
It's
out.
like, damn, I got a key, but I don't want to sell away. I'm gonna bag this shit up.
In a minute we're gonna do a B-roll and we're gonna show you this entire setup. And you're gonna see the deals he got, and the quality is the main thing I wanna focus on. You getting the deal, but don't think that price point justify the quality of the clothes. Cause the clothes is made of good quality, as you can see. You know, I feel good in my tee right
Exactly.
now.
Everything is fashion fitted.
Yeah,
so.
I feel real good in my
Yeah.
tee. So with that being said, let's go check out how
Let's look around. Let's look around.
Yeah,
a bit. Let me show you
go check out how
exactly
you
what
do
makes
things.
me so strong in Chicago.
Yeah, let's do that. Flight School TV.
Flight School TV. All right, we got the director garment right here, which just handles everything over there. We're gonna walk around there and I'm gonna let you see that. But then we got the silk screening right here, which is what we do right here. This is all the silk screening we do for other brands, family reunions, proms, anything you need done like that, that's what we do. So everything comes from right here. This is the manual. I have another automatic, which is an automatic, which prints 1,000 shirts an hour.
Wow.
And that one's at my other location. So these are some of the brands we actually print up for. The director garment to be over here, which to be the brother machine. I want to give out a little game right here. I'm gonna give you a little game for a lot of people that actually looking to buy this machine right here, and you don't have the day-to-day productions to actually print up on this machine. Do not buy this motherfucking machine. Do fucking not buy this machine. If you don't have the production to about you're gonna use it every day, because what happens is the ink get clogged up into the tubes, the white ink. If you don't use it, you're gonna and to replace just one needle head is $2,200.
He giving you game
Do
right
not
now.
buy this machine if you do not have the volume of printing every day. If you don't have your online presence whereby you're gonna print every day, this is the worst motherfucking machine to buy. I'm giving you some game. You can take it if you want. I'm not hating. I don't give a fuck. You can buy mine. It's on you.
He give you some games.
But this is
save you
what
a
we
couple
do.
dollars.
And then we got the screens right here for whatever we want to do. It's like, say, for instance, we want to do one internet shirt. We can do one internet shirt here. We can do one internet shirt over there in the customs department. We can do anything. Whatever happens, we don't lose.
Right.
That's the main point of this setup right here is where we don't lose and we win all across the board. One thing about a lot of brands is that they're octopus, but they only use in one hand. So you can't be an octopus and only use one hand. That's why we have the silk screening. in case something go wrong over there, and whereby we can heat press a shirt or do whatever. We still have our screens ready, same as we do for what we have over there. And then we have the direct to garment. So the octopusing of the print department, it has to be immaculate. It can't be like the normal, you know what I'm saying? If you look at the shirts we got already in stock.
Right.
So we got the shirts in stock and everything. You guys want to see the back room, the storage room and everything in 1 second, but I want a lot of the brands to actually be ready to actually mass produce and get full advantage of their brands. So the reason I accepted this interview from you, I appreciate you guys coming out.
We appreciate you.
I want a lot of brands to actually see how is it that if we was to join together, how powerful we'll be. This is just me as one brand, just as bad as if it was 5 brands here. So the thought process is not just a me. I'm speaking upon we.
Wow.
But a lot of people don't speak French, so fuck them.
Right.
I don't care.
So in closing, how can people reach you?
You don't have a Instagram, Edward Art, ARK. Come up to the mall, talk to me.
River
Oaks Mall, Calumet City. My website is LUVLoveEdwardArt.com.
Okay. And then, I mean, in closing,
we're gonna see the back room. You gonna show the back room?
Oh, you want it? Okay.
Hey, let's take them to the back room and show you.
Okay,
Actually,
let's show them the back room. Let's show them the back room.
This is the back room right here. And some of the things that I actually manufacture right now. Right now, we manufacture the t-shirts. If you look at the t-shirts right now, I'm in partners with Griffin. Griffin is one of the biggest manufacturers in the Midwest of t-shirts right now, which has accounts with like 1,000 stores like in LA. They manufacture them. This is the first soft style t-shirt, fashion fitted, like the one I got on. These t-shirts right here, I manufactured in Mexico. So if you look at this right here, it says Mexico, made in Mexico right there. So these are made in Mexico right here. The jeans right here is made in, I did them in China. The thermals we did, which is manufactured by me also, these are made in with a partnership with Griffin.
That's why I try to tell these people, do not
So I want to take you over here.
Edward Art lightly.
I want you to see the production of where we at. These are some of the jogging suits that we got, which is the business never personal. Man walking with a briefcase.
Yes, sir.
That's a brand that's been in the making for like 10 years, but I really started pushing it since I got into this big location. And this is some of the shirts. I want you to see the actual production of how the shirts is going. And this is the small warehouse where we keep things at. So when it comes to, even if we get 1,000 orders, I have a machine that does 1,000 shirts an hour. We'll be able to produce 1,000 shirts an hour and be able to produce anything that we want. And some of the major colors that we got out right now is some of the summer colors of what's actually been going on. But my thing is, we got some sweaters that we did too. We did some manufacturing of some sweaters. We have a lot of stuff. But if I did another interview within the next 3 months, it's going to be extremely hard to get back here.
Right.
It's going to be extremely hard because
I
have so much stuff getting manufactured.
So in closing, give the people where they can follow you, your website and things like that.
Okay, you can follow me on Instagram at Edward Ark, A-R-K, and you can follow me on go to my website and try to purchase something, please. Yes. At LUVEdwardart.com, WWLUVEdwardart.com.
Facebook, or you can get up, or you can get up out your bed and come support us. In Calumet City, and you definitely gonna find you a good deal in here. That's for sure.
I'm looking for the small brands. Quality. I'm looking for the small brands. The reason that we open up right now is to actually help the small brands get to the next level, take advantage of the DTG, the direct to garment, the prints, etc. I'm trying to help the small brands out. You support me or not?
So before we leave the OG, Edward Art, is there any words of advice that you would give to any young up-and-comers that want to be in your position or striving to be the next Edward Art?
I want them to actually be patient.
Patience.
Patience, passion equal to success.
And with that being said, Flight School TV.
Flight School TV,
Art,
salute. Thank you.